Hello and welcome to another Panther Podcast Weekly. This is Todd Bell. Now this week, we're going to be checking in with the Ohio Dominican men's basketball program. But before we start, a reminder that you can view all of our past episodes and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com, search for Ohio Dominican Athletics. You can view all of these programs, our award show with our student athletes, and you can also check out the latest Panther Podcast Weekly. And to know who's coming up next in the release, make sure you follow us on social media at ODU Athletics on both Twitter and on Facebook. This time a year ago, Kelly Winter was tabbed as the new coach to lead Ohio Dominican men's basketball program after serving as an assistant under Dan Evans for 5 seasons. Now, during his first season, 10 of the team's 29 games were decided by 6 points or less, including 5 overtime games. We welcome Kelly Winter to this week's Panther Podcast Weekly. Coach, starting with your first game of the season against Wayne State, there was no easing into this first year for you as a head basketball coach.
No, there wasn't. First of all, Todd Bell, thanks for having me. It's a privilege to be on here with you. And no, I was actually thinking today to kind of prepare for this interview. What's he going to ask me? And I kind of thought back of the journey from assistant to head coach and the challenges that had. And then kind of reflecting, because I was with my parents who made the trip up to Wayne State for the first game. And we reflected on that very first one. And kind of what you said, the whole kitchen sink was thrown at me that game with it was double overtime, I believe. And we had double overtime, close game, adjustments on the fly. I think we had some foul trouble. Ethan Haynes, who's never played a college basketball game, he was really important for us. I think he had like 8 or 9 rebounds that game. So there's a lot of stuff that was unfamiliar for a new coach, and even any coach for the first game of the year. But they threw me right in the fire along with my staff, and some of our guys had never had Sean Marks, Alec West, those guys, first college game of their career. And I think we came out with a W, learned a lot, but it was a fun experience for game one.
You know, I remember in leading up through your interview process, you and I talked quite a bit, and this was something that you had in the back of your mind had been planning for. I think a lot of assistant coaches who want to be a head coach, in the back of their mind, you're always kind of putting together a game plan. How much of what you thought it was going to be like as a head coach actually turned out to be what it was like to be a head coach?
Very little. Very little. Much more difficult. Everyone tells you this is a hard job. It's a hard job. And as the assistant, you're kind of like the backup quarterback in a way. You're kind of like the favorite, and players go to you for some answers, and players come to you looking for things. And as the head coach, it's all on you. So much different. I learned a lot off the floor, on the floor, administration stuff, organizationally. And your first year is in a leadership position. You feel kind of underqualified in a way. I was 29 years old at the time. I thought I was ready. I was confident, but you still have that kind of sense of, I'm underqualified. These parents are trusting me, this 29-year-old kid with their kids for the next 4 years. And I'm sitting in a room across from different kids' parents and their parents to make an important decision. And there's just a sense of you, because it is new to you, it is different. You feel underqualified, and you got to reflect back and self-evaluate and assess the whole year. And I've done a lot of that during quarantine, and I already feel a lot more comfortable in terms of leadership management and how a college basketball programs ran.
The game itself is a whole heck of a lot faster when you're the guy standing up calling the shots, as opposed to that guy sitting on the bench saying, well, I would have done that.
It is a lot easier. No, it's fun, though. Those pressure-packed situations, again, a lot of that, if you prepare the right way and you take care of stuff in practice with situations and you trust your guys when it comes to X's and O's and execution, a lot of that kind of pays off before you have to make that decision. So the you just prepare for it And Wayne State, I was probably underprepared, not knowing that was going to be game one. But luckily, we had I think Mike Simon or Arias, I can't remember who it was, made those big free throws to kind of clinch it for us. So that was huge.
Kelly, how long do you think it'll be before the product on the floor is kind of what you envision in your mind? Obviously, you inherited a nucleus of players that you had already been around that had established themselves. Then you mixed in some younger guys. You've certainly got some freshmen coming in this year that I know you're very high on. But that product that we'll see on the floor, how long before it is what Kelly Winter wants it to be?
That's a great question, Todd. I think it'll still be about 2 years. We only have one senior on our roster with Matt King. I think we saw glimpses of it at times this year, but obviously we lose 3 really important players. So we'll be more versatile, more positionless is the kind of coin I always say with the guys. With 7 or 8 freshmen coming in, like you said, we like all of them. We're young. We're an impressionable group, meaning these guys are they're gonna just grab hold of whatever we tell them, and they're gonna run through a brick wall for us because that's the type of kid we have in our program. But I think like the actual product on the floor, I think it'll take 2 years to really see that's what we're talking about, or this is what we want on both ends of the floor.
You know, we've had conversations now with both spring and fall coaches here in our Panther Podcast Weekly. So I want to kind of shift gears a little bit to our current time right now. They had their seasons affected in one way or another. The spring sports obviously had their seasons cut short. Fall sports right now, although we think are going to start on time, still some question marks there. How has it affected your program, a winter program, and maybe what have you learned from talking to these other coaches who have been affected?
I think it was big for us. Luckily, everyone was going through it, so it's not like we were behind the 8 ball. But spring is just such a big time with player development. So some of the stuff we just talked about in terms of schematically what we want to do moving forward, that was going to be a lot of stuff done this spring with our 11 returners. So we missed that time. So we missed, I think we would have 5 or 6 weeks in the spring with hands-on, lifting, conditioning, skill training, open gyms, all that stuff. So we missed all that time. But moving forward, I just think it'll be just kind of the learning curve will be pushed back. That time we missed, we do get the voluntary workouts this summer, which is huge with our returning guys. But I think when we push back to our start of the season, will probably be pushed back. So I think that we might make up some lost time there. But I just think we're going to have to do more classroom type stuff, meaning film, chalk talk with our new guys, just to hopefully catch them up to where we want to be.
I know on the social media for Ohio Dominican men's basketball, I saw you had tweeted out that Zoom screen or whatever your guys are using, but there was a lot of faces on that picture right there. In fact, you had to use 2 different screens with all the coaches and trainers and all of the new players. How has the communication part been thus far?
It's been awesome. So we were weekly during school, and then we've pushed our Zoom calls back to every other week. This past one, in the midst of everything going on right now, was probably the most satisfying, rewarding, one of my most proud moments I've been with this basketball program, just talking about racism and all the injustice going on right now. And that was this last Thursday. So that meeting was unbelievable. We had brave men speaking up, being really vulnerable, talking about all sorts of stuff. So our communication is much, much better than what it has been. And I'm proud of that. And that comes from me down to my assistants, and then through Matt King all the way down to our incoming freshmen.
You know, it's interesting, and we'll go down that road since you brought it up, because the room that you have is a very mixed room. And not only are you bringing kids who, for the most part, have never met each other till they get on campus, or maybe a little bit here or there, but you have all of the different backgrounds and all of the different races. How do you keep everything kind of copacetic in that locker room?
Yeah, we're big with just being authentic and telling how it is. So I kind of attacked that conversation with everyone in that regard. I kind of talked about where I felt, and then I talked about how our program would respond to this. And then I opened the floor up with if anyone wanted to talk or discuss. And for me, I said I'm the student when it comes to this, and I'm the white kid from Dublin. I grew up rich, white kid from Dublin. Like, I need to learn. I need to grow empathy. I need to love better. I need to understand more. So I just sat back and listened. I talked about like our program. We're going to respond with, we keep saying radical love. A radical love leads to radical change. That's kind of our tagline right now. But I just sat back and shared my thoughts and the program's thoughts, and just listened to these, like I said, brave African-American guys, white guys. Like, it was unbelievable just to hear the thoughts and what they've experienced that I didn't even know. as their leader basketball coach, a couple guys shared some experiences that they've encountered that did break my heart. And that's just stuff that I'm not aware of. A lot of our white guys aren't aware of. So to bring that to the table, I think it just created depth in our program that opened the door for more honest conversation, vulnerability, transparency, and all those good things that lead to a connected team.
Yeah, amen to that. We all need to get better at that, and hopefully we all will here progressing forward. You mentioned one senior, Kelly. So where is all this leadership kind of falling on whose shoulders right now? Matt King's a big guy, but that's a lot of guys to be on top of his shoulders.
Yeah. And that was our message to all of our returners, because that is a big question mark for us. We think a couple guys are ready to take on that load. So that was my question to them and the rest of the coaching staff. We called it leanability. Like, how much can we lean on you moving forward? We lost a lot of guys that played a lot of minutes. So that was kind of our overarching theme with our returners, is like, how big are your shoulders? How strong are your shoulders? And are you ready for this? I think Matt King's going to have a heck of a year on the floor, off the floor. Caleb Strohmeyer is ready to take a huge step in leadership. And then some of the turning guys, I think Alec West, when he gets healthy, he will be a leader for us. Arius Jones, Ethan Haynes, those guys that got minutes this year, I think they're going to flourish and blossom very early in this year, knowing kind of the new makeup and structure of this basketball team.
And not only that, but the landscape of the conference that you're in is always evolving. The Great Midwest that we've been a part of now for the past couple of seasons has seemingly had some parts coming and going, with the addition of Ashland coming in a couple of years and now Alderson Broaddus leaving. It's becoming much more of a Ohio-ish type conference, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a good basketball conference.
Yeah.
To go off your point now. I mean, it's you had Ashland, who's top of the GLIAC every year. Finley, Walsh, Cedarville, Lake Erie, I mean, all those teams. Kentucky Wesleyan, the run they had at the end. Trevecca was so much better the second half of the year. So it's a really good basketball program on both the men's and the women's side. So I just think our job got even harder with all the changes going on. So we're excited for it. Like I said, we're young, and we're gonna play our tails off every night, and we're gonna get better every game.
Kelly, great to talk to you. I don't know how you went a dozen weeks without seeing me or talking to me. I mean, it had to be pretty hard for you.
It was hard. I miss our lunchtime visits and miss our flybys, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to doing that all very soon. Coach, thanks for your time. Hopefully you can get your team in front of you in the near future, and best of luck in year 2.
Todd Bell, I appreciate it again. Thank you very much.
Hey, Coach Kelly Winter, as we take a dive into the ODU men's basketball program, we will continue with the player we talked about briefly, Matt King. He'll be on the other side as Panther Podcast Weekly continues.
Now's the perfect time to pursue your master's degree at Ohio Dominican University.
My master's degree in healthcare administration fit in perfectly with my full-time work schedule. I was able to advance my career, and the content applied directly into my day-to-day working experiences.
ODU's graduate programs in business, healthcare administration, and education can be completed 100% online or on campus. Apply now at ohiodominican.edu/grad.
Our Panther Podcast Weekly continues. This is Todd Bell. Our department stop this week is with Ohio Dominican men's basketball. And if you would like to follow what's going on with them, make sure you do it on social media, on Twitter at ODU Panthers _MBB. Matt King just finished up his 3rd season at Ohio Dominican. He played 24 out of 29 games this season, starting 18 of those. He did miss 5 games with a foot injury, however. And we welcome Matt to Panther Podcast Weekly. Well, how have you been? What have you been up to since we last saw each other back in the middle of March, Matt?
I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on. Haven't been up to a whole lot, honestly. I'm at home in Mason, living with my parents. My sister's here. Just been working out, trying to find ways to continue getting better, whether it's working out at home, shooting in the driveway, stuff like that. So just trying to stay busy.
Probably takes you back to days as a kid, right? When you didn't maybe have a college gymnasium to go shoot or a place to work out. You're kind of back in the old driveway again.
Definitely. It's honestly, I'm ready for gyms to open back up fully. So, but yeah, I'm just trying to make the most of it, I guess.
Yeah. You've had 3 distinctly different years of your basketball here at Ohio Dominican. Your freshman year, you play in 11 games sparingly, but a dramatic finish by winning a tournament championship and getting a berth into the NCAA. Sophomore year, a much more elevated role as you ended up starting about half your games. Then you have a coaching change, and this past year, for the first time in your entire career, you have to deal with an injury where games you have to sit out. How would you describe your time here as an athlete at Ohio Dominican?
Yeah, it's been fun. Every year is different. Getting to play with a different group of guys every year, and you never know what a season's going to bring from the time you step on campus in the fall all the way to the end of the season. So I would say it's been a lot of fun. I'm thankful for all the relationships I've been able to build with teammates, coaches. Obviously, like you said, we've had a coaching change, but through it all, been having fun with it, and can't ask for a better experience at ODU so far.
How frustrating was it when you came down with the foot injury, not knowing if you're going to be able to come back at all and finish the year? And fortunately, about the last 2 weeks of the season, you were back. That had to be a little frustrating for you.
Yeah, definitely. Personally, I've honestly, at least since high school, starting in high school, I never had like major injury where I've had to sit out games. So it was definitely frustrating. But myself, like based on how I felt like severity of it, I was really hopeful that I was going to be able to get back, and working with our trainer every day. She helped out a ton, so I was able to get back, which was nice.
Take me back to the recruiting process. You've obviously stated that you've enjoyed your time here, but what was it that drew you to Ohio Dominican?
Honestly, it was the people. First and foremost, when I came on my visits, Coach Evans, Coach Winter, and the other coaches that we had back then just really made me feel like I was at home here. And then all the players that I met on my visits here. Some of them, like Sam Hickey, obviously he was here, Mike DeLeon, Ben Casanova, Michael Simon, just to name a few that I've become really close with. They welcomed me in right away on my visits. So, and it's nice. It's only about an hour and a half from home, which is good. I feel like it's a good location. Love how it's in Columbus. So.
It's kind of you're just far enough from home that you just can't get in the car and drive home whenever you want. But if you want to drive home, you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, no player anticipates going through a coaching change, as you just mentioned, with Coach Evans leaving. What was your emotions like when you found out that there was going to be a coaching change with obviously no certainty of who the next coach was going to be?
Definitely just I'd say just confusion at first. You commit to a school, you hopefully assume that your coach is going to be there for all 4 years, but the reality of it in college sports is that that's not often the case. So once that happened, and then the uncertainty of who our next coach was going to be was really, I guess, it was tough for us as players. We all supported Coach Winter, and kind of endorsed him to be the next coach, but obviously it wasn't in our hands. So it was definitely tough, those couple weeks of waiting.
I'm guessing, though, with yourself and most of the players, there was a sense of relief, though, when Kelly was given the reins to the team. How much different was it as him an assistant to then Kelly, the head coach?
Yeah, it definitely took some adjusting, I would say, but he's still the same guy. He's still bringing energy every single day, still pushing us to get better every single day. So he hasn't changed in that sense at all.
All right, let's talk about moving forward now. Obviously, it's a little bit different, your off-season training, and perhaps you're going to be able to get back to that here sometime soon. We'll all keep our fingers crossed for that. With all things being equal, though, what is your expectation, maybe even personally and as a team, now moving into what will be your 4th year at ODU?
Honestly, just excitement. I'm really excited. I think we got a really good group of guys moving forward. I'm just ready to get back with my teammates, with my coaches, and get to work. So expectations, I'd say, pretty high. I'm excited about next year.
The other day, you mentioned a social media account for the ODU men's basketball team a moment ago. They had tweeted out kind of a picture, that Zoom picture of the entire team. Bernadette Trainer was there, all the assistants. How difficult has it been to try and stay in contact with everybody during this time?
It's been tough. We're trying to do our best to stay in contact with each other. I mean, we got like a group message with all the players and stuff, but obviously not communicating as much as we would like, especially if we were on campus together.
And with you being a senior, there's got to be some leadership now that falls on you. Are you kind of one of the guys that's trying to keep everything together right now?
Yeah, I definitely am accepting that leadership role. Just trying to stay in contact with my teammates. Not always on a daily basis, but definitely weekly.
And you've got quite a few incoming freshmen as well. So there's got to be a lot of question marks for those players coming in.
Yeah, it honestly, more guys coming in than I expected. Honestly, I just kept seeing them pop up on Twitter or Instagram. We got another commit. So, but it's been great getting to know those guys. And I'm excited to meet all of them in person.
Yeah, it's going to be a large family once we get back on campus. No question about it. Some more guys are going to have to double up on the bus trips, I think.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can still get my single seat. I've been waiting on 3 years for it.
That is very key. People need to know that when the men and the women's team travel together, the seniors get a seat to themselves. Everybody else gets to double up, which can be a bit challenging for some of the taller guys.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's have a little fun, Matt, here at the end of our discussion today. I've got 5 questions here. You have no idea what I'm about to shoot at you, so hopefully you can come up with some good answers here. Be fast on your feet. Are you ready for this?
Guess so.
All right, Mason, Ohio. You grew up in the heels of Kings Island. What's your favorite ride at Kings Island?
Diamondback. I'd have to go with the Diamondback.
Describe that for us.
It's a roller coaster. At the time, it was like one of like the tallest, fastest something or other. I don't know. I haven't been to Kings Island in a while, but that was definitely my favorite from back in the day.
All right. You've got a couple of sisters that have played collegiately. I'm not sure about your brother Brian, if he did or not, but among the King siblings, who's the best athlete?
Definitely got to be my younger sister, Maggie. She's a volleyball player. She plays at Western Michigan, so she's probably got me beat.
Did you ever play volleyball?
No, I didn't.
Is there a reason for that?
I mean, I thought about it actually in high school, but just with AAU and everything, I felt I didn't have the time to play.
Yeah. All right. It can be high school or as growing up as a kid, college. What's been your favorite sports moment for you personally?
That's tough. I'm probably going to have to go. It was, I think it was either my junior or sophomore year of high school. It was just a game we were playing at Lakota East. A lot of their guys actually ended up playing in the GMAC, so I kind of kept in contact with them. Played against them in college too, but it was it was for a league title. The place was like sold out by like 3:30 on game day, so the place was packed by like the beginning of the JV game. So. And it ended up being a good game. We ended up winning. So that's probably my best sports moment, I'd say.
Yeah, I assumed as you were telling the story that your team won because it wouldn't have been a favorite edge you lost. Right. During this quarantine period, Matt, has there been anything new that you've tried to learn to do?
Yeah, I started trying to learn the Rubik's Cube, but I completed it a couple times, but I kind of pushed it off to the side. So if you ask me to like pick up a Rubik's Cube and do it right now, I actually got it sitting right here, matter of fact. But I forget how to solve it, so I got to get back to that actually.
That's a my generation toy, if you will. I'm proud of you. That's good. All right, last one for you. Think about all the places that we go to, whether it's in conference or it's been out of conference in your time with Ohio Dominican. Is there a favorite gym or place that you like to go to on the road?
Favorite gym? I would probably say Hillsdale. I love Hillsdale's gym, but I don't like making the trip to Hillsdale, honestly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I've gone to that hotel too many times.
Yeah, it was the hotel. I knew that's where you were going.
Yeah, but I love their gym, and then I also love Finley's gym. Love playing at Croy.
And we've had a decent experience there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Hey, great job. Have you got a haircut? Your hair looks great, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I actually did. My sister
Good.
actually gave me a haircut. So
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna need another one here soon, but appreciate it.
All right. It looks great. Hey, Matt, thanks for the time. Great job as always. And we look forward to seeing you on campus here very soon.
Appreciate it, TB. Good talking to you.
All right, that's going to wrap up another edition of our Panther Podcast Weekly. Now, remember, you can view past episodes as well as this year's Student Athlete Awards Show. Go to youtube.com and search Ohio Dominican Athletics. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and then follow on Instagram and Twitter at ODU Athletics, and you'll get the updated release of the next Panther Podcast Weekly. My thanks to head coach Kelly Winter and now senior Matt King for being a part of this week's show. This is Todd Bell. Thanks for watching, and reminder, it's always a great day to be a Panther.